Good morning. It's 11:59, Wednesday, November 30th, 2016. This is Al Smith. Dusty is standing by in Los Angeles with more news and talk.
Welcome to another edition of the Metro Today Show, news and talk radio that keeps you informed and inspired. On this episode, we discuss the ever-popular social media platform known as crowdfunding. Who starts these funds, and what happens to the money that you've donated? We speak with a veteran news photographer and writer who set up a crowdfund to help save his home and livelihood after he suffered a horrendous heart attack and is now battling cancer. We meet another gentleman who suffered a massive stroke due to a chiropractor's medical negligence. And finally, we speak to a mother whose only son suffered a traumatic brain injury and now needs to raise money and awareness at the same time. And our special feature, the manhunt is on for a 17-year-old criminal mastermind who preys on people who are desperate for his help in setting up a crowdfund. The Denver area teenager has scammed thousands of dollars from unsuspecting elderly and disabled people who trusted him and never saw a penny from the funds he was supposed to set up. Metro Today News Talk starts right now. And now, live from Los Angeles, here's the host of the Metro Today Show, Dustin Alexander Perez. And thank you, Jay Clark, our booth announcer. We appreciate that, and we welcome you, our listeners and viewers out there. We appreciate you being here with us today. Well, we've got a lot to cover, so we're going to get right into the show. As we've told you before, this is about crowdfunding. We have 3 stories of people that have had crowdfunds or currently have crowdfunds, and some of the things that they're going through. And this will be our first story coming up right now. We have one of our wonderful friends who also is an employee, one of our colleagues at the Metro News Network in Chicago, who's on the phone line with us now. I want to welcome Bill Stevens to the line. This is a difficult thing for me to do, but I'm doing this because I love Bill. Bill's been like a brother to me. He's been very tolerant and patient with me with a lot of things. So Bill is in trouble right now, and Bill has had some health issues of the past couple of years, and as many of you know, who may have your own company and might have to provide your own insurance, everything is just so cost prohibitive. And what happens when you don't have any more money? Well, thank goodness for crowdfunding, and for listeners like you that will hopefully, after hearing Bill's story, will contact his crowdfund page and make a donation. So Bill, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dusty.
Take us back to that horrible day this all started. You'd gone to Summerfest, you were working, everything was fine.
Yeah, and I was just getting ready to go back after the one-day break. Summerfest runs for 11 days, and right in the middle of it, the Monday right in the middle of Summerfest, they're dark. They do that for a number of reasons. One, to give their employees a break because, well, let's face it, who can work 12, 14-hour days straight without affecting themselves? So they give everybody a break. You go home, do your laundry, cut your grass, that type of thing, which I did. And I was getting ready to go back. I had just gotten up, and I became extremely short of breath. And after being a volunteer firefighter paramedic for 26 years, and I had already been retired at the time, but, you know, that's the kind of training that just never goes away, I knew I was in trouble. So I called a neighbor of mine. I happened to be at the campground that I used to have my camper at. I told him, you need to come down here. You're going to have to call 911 because sometime in the next 2 minutes, I'm not going to be able to talk to anybody. Called 911, ambulance came, took me to a satellite hospital. They took one look at me and they sent me to the main hospital because I was in big trouble. I had major blockages that had cropped up overnight. Turns out I beat the Widowmaker. I had 2 blockages over 95% and one was almost completely closed at 99%. In the cath lab, they couldn't do anything about it except put me on assist pumps until they could get a surgeon available to put me on a table and do bypass. And 8.5 hours later and 5-way bypass later, I'm in ICU. They sent me home in 6 or 7 days, which is the norm now. Couldn't do anything for 6 months. You know how everybody tells you to make sure you've got 6 months of savings? I lived on that 6 months of savings because I was unable to work. And I have 2 jobs. I own a small alarm company, which I had to find other people to cover for me, and then I do the photography work. 6 months later, I went back to work. Then I developed another problem. They found that I had bladder cancer. Subsequently, this all started in 2013. In July of 2013, in May of 2014, I had my first cancer surgery. And then about 12 weeks later, I had a second cancer surgery. And at that point, I had over $300,000 in unpaid medical bills, what the insurance didn't pay. And it continues. It got so bad that I had a doctor quit on me because I wasn't working at the time. I couldn't pay, even a small amount of the bill because there was no money. I mean, I wasn't even able to make my mortgage payments. And where I sit right now is my house is in foreclosure. I'm trying to fight my way back. I'm starting to work again, but I'm still doing treatments, and the treatments make you tired. You still have good and bad days. And, this is where I sit. It's one of those things where, and I know I'm not the only one. I know there's a lot of people out there that have the same problem. And I just don't understand it. I don't understand how, in a society like we have, our insurance doesn't help us very much, especially if you're single and you're self-employed, which I am.
Do you have insurance through your company you own, or how does that work?
Because I'm an owner-operator, you end up with your own insurance. It would be like somebody that's retired that is not on Medicare would have to have a policy, and all of those policies got converted to Obamacare. Believe me, they do not pay what they claim they pay. We will actually nitpick the bills, and they'll say, oh, that's not covered, that's not covered, that's not covered. My heart medications aren't covered. Blood pressure meds that I'm on, paying full price for.
Bill, I was going to ask you about the prices on those. Can you give me a ballpark figure of every month what the cost is?
There's a couple of blood pressure meds and a statin, and that amounts to about $70 or $80 a month. It's the things that I have to do to keep the cancer at bay that's expensive, and it's because nothing holistic is covered under your insurance. So the holistic treatments that I'm doing right now, some months, it depends on where I'm at in the treatment, we're looking at somewhere around $900 a month.
That's a lot of money, Bill.
That's a mortgage payment, and that's the reason why my mortgage is in trouble. I have to choose whether or not I live or I have a roof over my head. We shouldn't have to do that. If you choose to do holistic treatments in this day and age, and believe me, a lot of the holistic treatments work better than what the doctors have to offer.
We have to take a short commercial break to help pay some of the bills. Be sure to visit our website, mymetrotoday.com. That has more information on how you can donate to Bill's crowdfund. We've got more with Bill Stevens in Chicago coming up after these messages. You're listening to the Metro Today Show.
When is your flu shot more than a flu shot? When it helps give a life-saving vaccine to a child in need. Thanks to customers like you, Walgreens Get a Shot, Give a Shot program has helped provide 15 million vaccines through the UN Foundation. It's that easy to make a difference. Walgreens, at the corner of happy and healthy.
And now, a message from Jennifer Coolidge.
Everyone should know how to do hands-only CPR. If you see a teen or adult suddenly collapse, all you need are
2 simple steps. Call 911 and push hard and fast in the center of the chest until help arrives.
just push to the beat of the classic song, Staying Alive.
It really works.
You didn't let me finish. I really do know this stuff.
If it wasn't for disco, I'd be dead. Staying alive. Staying alive.
Take 60 seconds to learn. Visit heart.org/hands-only CPR. A message brought to you by the American Heart Association and this radio station. It's 8 minutes past the hour.
All right, well, we're back, I guess.
Yes, we're back.
As I was saying, holistic treatments should be covered under your insurance like anything else. The problem we have, as far as I've been reading, and I've been doing a lot of research, I mean, when you're not working, there isn't much to do but read. The problem we have is our medical professionals, the doctors and what have you, aren't allowed to experiment anymore. They are only allowed to provide treatment that's approved by the FDA. So if there is something natural out there that actually works, they can't recommend it. They can't help you through it because they'll lose their medical license if they do. It's unfortunate because I know for a fact that there are things out there that work. Bladder cancer, as far as I could tell, never really goes away. It will always recur anywhere from 2 to 5 years. It comes back, and you have to go in and be treated again. The holistic treatments that I'm using right now, I'm 2 years in. This was 2014. It came back. I started these holistic treatments, heavy doses of them, and within a week of going on them, basically I expelled the tumor without surgery.
That's amazing.
Seems to me that works.
Yeah.
And as long as it keeps working, I'm not going to complain. However, you don't know. But there's another treatment I want to try, but that's an additional $1,500 a month, and I just can't afford it. I'm about to lose my house. I'm behind on a ton of bills. And frankly, myself, just like a lot of other people out there, need help. Got to be help out there for people. I just don't understand. I don't know where to get it. There's a lot of people in the same boat I am. I know of another photographer, hasn't been able to work in a year because he has a problem with his spine and needs a stem cell transplant. And he's trying to raise money for that. So we're out here, we're looking for help, and we'll take it any way we can get it.
Bill, I want to ask you something. You do not have to answer this if you don't want or if you think it's irrelevant. If you lose your home, and we hope that you don't, but if you do, if you have to move, would you lose your business?
The business would suffer greatly. It would be very difficult to relocate the business. Physically, for me to do the labor to actually move would probably continue to destroy my health because the more stress you're under, the faster it grows.
Bill, how long have you operated your own company? How many years?
Since 1979.
Wow, it's been over 40 years.
That's right. And over the last 3 years, I've lost 50% of my business because I've been unable to service certain customers.
So now you have a pay cut because of the loss in revenue from the business, and you have an outgo increase because now you're having to pay for things mostly out of your pocket. We have a crowdfund page set up. Can you tell us about that, Bill?
Well, thanks to you, you set up a crowdfund page for me. We've shared it on social networking. We weren't looking for $300,000, just $50,000 so I could possibly get back on my feet, get the business built back up again. Then I'd be able to continue to pursue paying bills, or if worse came to worse, I might have to file bankruptcy for the medical bills. I hate to do it because, let's face it, these doctors saved my life. 8.5 hours and my heart was beating normally again. Down the road, we figured out what actually caused it. Some of the supplements that I take actually will fight that from happening again. Everybody says, well, you had a heart attack, your cholesterol was actually high, but no, it wasn't. My cholesterol was actually under 100. It wasn't a cholesterol issue. I found out from that research, from being laid up for 6 months, that I had a magnesium deficiency. Being deficient in magnesium will actually cause heart blockages. It'll cause an irregular heartbeat, and that's ultimately what probably caused my heart issue. And then the stress of the surgery and the recovery and what have you probably triggered the cancer. Now, keep in mind, 26 years as a volunteer firefighter, I was exposed to a lot of stuff. And I started back in the 70s, back before they had a lot of protection. When you're a volunteer, you don't have insurance. You don't have extended insurance. You don't have a pension. Most of the time I didn't get paid. It was just basically donating my time to the community. You look at that and you say, okay, I don't have a problem with that. I still do. I still go to fires. I provide photography for the fire departments now. However, I do it a lot less, depending on how I feel. I'm not one to usually sit around on my butt in a recliner watching TV, but unfortunately the last 3 years I've been kind of getting used to it because when you physically can't perform, that's what you do, which is a shame.
Bill has owned his own business for well over 40 years, and Bill has been with Metro News, what is it, Bill? At least 6 years.
Something like that, yeah.
Bill came to join us at the network, probably a month after we opened. Bill's currently our chief photographer at the network, and Bill has been a good friend personally to myself, my late sister, to my family, and this is the guy who invites me over to Thanksgiving every year. And someone who does that, I appreciate that, and I appreciate Bill. I don't believe that I could do what I've done if it wasn't for Bill. Bill has been there a lot for me, and so now I'm going out on the airwaves, and I'm asking you, my friends out there, to take what you've heard and consider giving a donation. You can find Bill's GoFundMe page at gofundme.com/Bill Stevens. any amount that you can make a donation of would just be such a blessing. And also make sure that you share that with your friends and family and maybe your church or your social club. Just wherever you can get the word out to help our friend Bill Stevens, because he needs your help. And Bill's the kind of guy I can attest to that if you needed help, Bill does a lot of things for a lot of people. And even feeling the way he does, he still gets out there and he still goes, which is amazing. Bill, do you have any last words or anything that you want to say? Anything I might have missed?
Oh, I think you pretty much covered it all. I mean, the GoFundMe site link will probably be up on our website, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
And this way they get the right one, because I think there's another one, another gentleman out there with the same name as mine, that he has a site as well.
Okay, well, that's a good point to bring up. So if you want, you can go to our website. There's a link right under the story, or actually it's in the body of the story. There's a display ad on there for Bill's crowdfund page. You can go to GoFundMe.com/Bill Stevens. Also, you can go to our website and right on the homepage, you'll see right at the top, there's Bill's picture and the GoFundMe logo. You can click on that. Bill Stevens from Chicago. We wish you many, many years of health, and we really hope and pray that you're going to be able to keep the home that you not only built, but you raised 2 wonderful children in. We just wish you the very best, Bill.
Thank you.
And we'll be back with more of Metro Today after these messages.
An update to Dusty's story. Bill Stevens also has a donation page on NetBasket. Visit mymetrotoday.com for more details. News time is now 15 past the hour.